Saudi Gold Refinery Company, SGR, is one of the most significant national mining companies in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that has been operating for more than 15 years. The company owns many advantages, including, it is one of companies whom produce or mineral in the kingdom. The company produces gold from one mine, which situated in the southern part of the Arabian Shield in Tathlith subterrane of Asir terrain in the kingdom. Also, the Saudi Gold Refinery Company has another exploration license now under exploration northeast of Jeddah City. The company has also applied for several mineral occurrences disclosure licenses and is still under procedures, the majority of which are for gold and copper commodities. The company has adopted the following steps as essential steps for any exploration program. 1. The Office Accreditation Stage, which includes the collection of data and information from the Data and Information Legacy data for the previous activities achieved for those areas, represented by the technical reports of the foreigner missions and national agencies beside the independent geologist who worked in the past on all target sites, studying topographic, geologic and mineral maps with various drawing scales, which will lead to the ability to be able to become known about what has been done in the past for those areas and build on it in current projects. 2. SGR Company has an unit specialized in remote sensing and GIS studies, in which the team's visit to the areas is prepared in advance, and all satellite outputs are used according to the type of rocks and the alteration zones associating the mineralization zones that exposed on the surface. Image processors are also performed to reach the most promising target areas and initial geological maps are made for them. 3. The stage of field auditing, which is intended to link what has been studied and written in the past in the previous outputs and the extent of its conformity with what is on the ground in the targeted areas of the study. 4. The field study stage, which adopts an oriented exploration program based on the aforementioned field data, which are represented in the characteristics of the area, its mineralized exposures and its relationship to the host rocks, in addition to the building structures and the structural settings causing them. 5. Drawing a detailed geological map of each site at an appropriate scale of drawing that corresponds to the dimensions of the detection license, provided that the geological map contains all the detailed information and data required, which will facilitate the task of the work team, including determining the type of rock unit's lithology with a full explanation of those rock detectors, determining the boundaries of the seam between each rock unit and its adjacent unit, determining the inclinations of the layers and degrees of inclination for each start, determining the direction of the bat lines of the strata, drawing the mineralized sites with an explanation of the distribution and distribution frameworks of the ore on the unfolding on the rock with the measuring of their inclinations, quality, and extensions. 6. Collect surface samples representing rock units and mineralized zones including quartz veins as well as their associated alteration zones, specifying the type of structures that limit these zones. '7. The completion of a surface trenches program targeting several things, including determining the direction of the most common geological structures, and one or more of them will be the one who controls the localization of the ore in the area, which represents the structurally favorable site. The collection of trench samples will certainly give a more accurate and better visualization of surface samples, which have been subjected to more stripping, erosion and bleaching than trenching samples. Nine. Collect all data to make a decision based on it in the ideal locations of the dug drilling program. Start applying a drilling program that adapts to the trends and extensions of the mineralized zones and the rocks hosting it, as well as on the description of the type of the ore and the pictures of the occurrences and quantities of the presence and quantities of the ore, starting the application of the progressive drilling program in accordance with reaching the stage of studying the economic feasibility according to the data of the JORC standard. If the use of diamond core drilling to test the sequence of the lithologies and the mineralization zones and trace their depths in hard rocks is the appropriate equipment, but the use of the auger equipment is the appropriate machine, the test of the sequence of friable alluvial materials. These sediments horizons were formed in the catchment areas over the million years in the basins adjacent to the mineralized bed rocks, which carry with it the mineral deposit in a secondary environment by erosion, transport and reposition operations in the intermountain basins or at the end of the downstream, Some of these sedimentary basins are gold-bearing. This ore occurs in the form of fine grains that are not visible to the naked eye most of the time, so it is necessary to collect representative samples from the different horizons, and auger represent the most convenient equipment for this purpose. The mineral exploration programs of the Saudi Gold Refinery Company are subject to the utmost discipline in terms of taking into account the health, environmental, safety and requirements of the entire team of technicians and their assistants. We have our own HSE protocol detailed in the company profile. Maximum safety and environment are applied throughout the mine in general. In the most sensitive places such as the cyanide warehouse and the heap leaching area, which have been built according to environmental requirements in all respects. Wells in the surrounding area are also opened periodically, and samples are taken and analyzed to observe any chemical changes and immediately prevent the cause, if any. Safety conditions apply to all mine workers. Visitors' uniform are also worn to ensure safety for all visitors to the mine and give them a lecture at the beginning of the visit on the cautions to avoid and follow the instructions of the accompanying guide. This is evidenced by the fact that wildlife is not affected within the area and around the mine, where many reptiles, birds and desert volatiles plants are spread. Production in the mine is based on the sources of the first stage, which is the Wadi deposits, as the main supplier, along with the ancient mining dumps of the mineralized zones of high concentrations of gold. At the preparation stage, as well as we work to increase porosity and permeability by applying the best experiments that suit the ingredients of the materials. Saudi Gold Refinery has a fleet of heavy production equipment at the mine to cover all stages of production, preparation, transportation and construction of heap leaching. After the construction of the heap leaching, it is treated so that the complete treatment processes are started by spraying the solution diluted from cyanide in accordance with international controls and environmental requirements with the utmost care and discipline. After the diluted solution permeates all the layers of heap leaching, it flows to the artificial pond and is a gold carrier and is raised to the factory to start your treatment by extracting gold from it. With sequential processes, it is poured and cast in a primitive form but with a high degree of purity. The Saudi Gold Refinery Company is distinguished from the rest of the companies producing in the kingdom by having 4 chains, which are exploration, mining, refining, and manufacturing. The mine has its own unique laboratory and will be further developed. It contains all devices and tools. The team of chemists can also analyze daily periodic samples that enable us to identify the fluctuation in the elemental content of gold hour by hour from the wadi layers from which the first one is produced.